that is pretty cool. You know that. All right. We are live. All right, we ready to go? 5, 4, 3, go. Hey guys, this is Chuck from Pressburg Consulting, and I'm here at the Blue Force Gear booth on the first day of the exhibition at SHOT Show 2020. Today we want to talk about a brand new inner-outer belt system that Blue Force Gear has been working on. I'm started going the other direction, and we ended up in kind of the minimalist world where we were actually hanging items on our rigger belts that were on our gear. Flashbangs on your pants and you need to go to the dining facility, you're bringing flashbangs and hand grenades to the dining facility. There's no way to extract your gear from yourself. Have to stay in an outfit and then work in that outfit, and they don't know when that is going to happen. You have an inner and an outer belt system. That's why law enforcement variations on tactical police belts. And then we, so very stiff, rigid, lined. Onto those rigid belt systems, and that's kind of where we are as the status of the industry is a double layer PALS, semi-rigid inner. Possible, potentially get something that was more conformal to the actual human form, and then try to do all of that in a belt that could also be a life-saving device and replace the safety line inner rigger belts that were being used by forces that rode in aircraft that had seats out waivers who did mountaineering operations. So that is the apex of that goal is what I'm holding right here in front of me. So this belt system has a very, very low profile inner belt that can be worn as a pants belt. One of the things that people really complained about, the original like Safariland Rangemaster belts or whatever, they had the hook tape on the inner belt, and you would see guys that would have dog fur, cat hair, lint, fuzz balls, and it looked unprofessional to like range officers that were walking around in their starch 511s or whatever. They were constantly having to pick the nits out of their hook tape. Not only did we use the pile tape, which is kind of where the industry is migrated to, other than that one vendor that I mentioned, all of the other tactical kind of gear companies, that they've all decided that fuzzy or pile tape on the inner belt is more advantageous. You get less snagging from any type of cover garments or anything that you're wearing over a belt like this. So this is kind of the industry standard in terms of fuzzy side in. Let's put the sticky side on the belt now. So this is less susceptible to catching debris, dirt, cat hair, what have you, and then it's also reversible. So if you're not going to be using your duty belt that day, you can put the belt on in this direction and have a color-matched multi-cam pattern, FDE pattern matched to your pants, and then you don't have any Velcro hook pile tape exposed on your uniform at all. So that's a pretty cool design. You'll also notice that when I take this thing out and lay it flat, it is not a straight line. Every other duty belt, stiffened belt, web belt, it's all a straight line. So it's not taking into account the human form, especially females. So when we bring this belt across, it is creating a conal shape that is matching the hips of the individual wearer. So it is much more comfortable, especially when we start going into the rigid belt. So when we move on to the rigid belt, we've got a cobra buckle, we've got our hook tape on the inside, and it is stiffened but not excessively so. So I can take this belt and I can fold it. With just my finger and thumb, I can fold it. But when you look at straight up and down forces, like weight being hung on it, very rigid, very hard when you're putting forces straight on the belt. So I can't fold a belt that is up against my body, but it is much less, it's not using the stiffener material to necessarily do that. It's using the conformation of the belt around your body to achieve the rigidity that you need. So it has the rigidity to hold duty pouches, but the comfort and flexibility of a belt that is much less rigid than the standard inner outer belts. You can look through the PALS webbing laser cuts and you can see that there is tubular nylon in there because this is going to be a life-saving piece of equipment. 3,500 pound tensile strength on this belt. And it has two hard points, either to the left or, excuse me, this is a, sorry. Yep. So this one is set up off to the right, and then it has one back at the 6 o'clock. This allows you to either girth hitch, snap shackle, or carabiner an aircraft safety line onto it, and then hook into an aircraft or hook into a hard point for mountaineering, fixed rope mountaineering, and high angle shooting. A bunch of different applications for that. If you don't need it, it can be pushed down so that you can use that PALS real estate on the belt. I have come in under it and attached things that like drop leg stuff or whatever, and I've come in under and attached devices in that manner as well. The entire system is coming in at about half the weight of the current kind of comparable Molly inner outer belt system that is most popular and prevalent out there right now. So 50% weight reduction on the double belt system, and weight and bulk were the reasons why I was so hesitant in getting into a double belt system for a long time. So you can use any pile inner system that you want to. If you've already got other belts or whatever, or you're wearing, you buy a multicam belt and you're wanting to use it on a set of black pants, you can use a black belt if you wanted to, if you had a multicam belt. So, you know what they say about gunslingers that come from trailer parks. You can take the tactical guy out of the trailer park, but you can't take the trailer park out of the tactical guy. I'm currently wearing a tactical sub belt right now, and so this allows you to just go right over and buckle in. The belts are sized probably to within about a 2-inch overlap. So if you're a 36 guy, you can get into a 34. If you're a 34 guy, and then you start putting on 3 layers of polypro or poof sub layers in a wintertime environment, and you need to stretch that thing out a little bit. There's enough give and enough play in the retention to be able to make sure that happens. So let's talk about pouch attachment. You can use any PALS webbing, any PALS compatible webbing to go ahead and attach pouch systems. As an instructor, I run multi-gun, multi-discipline training now. So if I'm doing a pistol-only class, I might want to have 2 double magazine pouches or 4 magazines of pistol ammo available to me. If I go to a rifle class, I might only need 1 or 2 pistol reloads, but I need to add an additional magazine or 2 of rifle on the hip for emergency reload purposes. So I choose to not use the PALS webbing, the Blue Force Gear belt, all of their accessories that are belt overlap for pants belts. They all are compatible with this. There can be some sliding when the belt is carried like this, but you can adjust the pouches to where they need to be, and when you put them on, the mating up of the hook tape and pile tape of the belt will lock in the pouch so that you don't get any movement. And that allows me, with the flip of 2 Velcro tabs, to pull a double pistol mag pouch off and replace a rifle mag pouch way faster than weaving and unweaving of MOLLE compatible devices are. I also, not operational anymore, so the idea of a pouch being a 1/4 inch forward or back is not a life or death thing for me. So I can go with either a more modular system or a more secure system in terms of pouch attachment, being able to be sheared or torn off of the equipment. So if I was in a duty position operationally where I had configured my load and I'm going to be fighting in this load for this trip, as long as I'm in this area doing this job against these threats and bad guys, this is how I'm going to want my gear configured, then I would go ahead and route those MOLLE compatible pouches on there and lock them in so there would be no sliding. I could hang my belt off a hook, and then gravity isn't going to shift any of my gear around, and when I need it, I can just take it and throw it on, clip it in the front, and move out sharply and do work. So I think that covers all of the finer points that I really like about this belt system. I participated in the beta testing and provided some feedback, and this thing really answers the mail for me on all of kind of some of the flaws that I saw in the other systems that were out there that I was using. And I'm really, really excited for the release of this product. So with that, guys, I'll leave it open for questions.
When is it available?
So this thing is going to be coming out sometime in first half 2020. So we don't have boxes full of them on the shelf where they're going to start shipping pre-orders on Monday, but they're coming first half 2020, not last half 2020. So.
Any thoughts on attaching to the front versus attaching to the rear?
As far as safety hard points, So yeah, that's a good question. So double hard points, they're pretty necessary, I think. If you're sitting in a helicopter like or a C-130 and you're sitting up against the wall and your back up against it, the hard points that you're going to hook into are to your front. So having your rope, your safety line accessible to be able to sit forward, find a hard point, and hook into it, that is good. If you are on a 60-degree downslope and you put in a piece of pro to the face so that you don't fall forward off of the ledge that you're firing your .338 off of, you don't want the rope attached to the front and pulling your body as you're loading it under gravity. So having a 6 o'clock to the rear hold in that type of environment as you're doing a high angle downward shot, that's going to be more advisable to you. If you're sitting in the door of an aircraft, like a helicopter that is open for LE platform operations or what have you, that means that your hard point is going to be behind you, so it makes more sense and would be more intuitive to hook in from the 6 to the hard point in your police helicopter, again, as opposed to having it attached to the front. So if it's attached to the front, in worst case scenario, in a high G maneuver, you could actually turn as you load the belt, and that might be your haunches departing from said helicopter, and now you're outside of said helicopter attached by rope, and that's not cool. When you hook it to the 6, if it's long enough that when you load it, your haunches are not leaving the floor of the chopper, then during a high G, you're not going to be extracted.
Sorry, sir, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
I used to carry my magazine pouch like an appendix carry. My magazine just in front there. Due to the fact that I'm right-handed and on the, sorry, may I? Yeah, it's located here. May I buy this stuff with that hook on the right side instead of the left side?
So, the simple answer to that is that I believe that is one. So, yes. So this is a right-handed belt with the hooks off to the left, and this is a left-handed belt with the attachment point off to the right. Because these are conformal, they're not universal, and I don't know if that is going to be a separate SKU or not. I can tell you that making this thing 3,500 pound load rated comes with some cost to it. And if a civilian wants the weight savings and capability of this, but has no need for this, there's absolutely plans to reduce the cost of this item, remove the unnecessary hardware, and then give you like a range belt that is just a really lightweight, awesome range belt. And that will be coming. So if you have no aircraft or safety requirement, you wouldn't have to worry about which side you order. You just order this one that doesn't have this on it at all. So, great question. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
How would you recommend a normal everyday guy kind of here at stateside who's getting ready for his hurricanes or zombie apocalypse? What do you carry on his floor belt?
So the whole concept of first line, second line, third line, this belt for a lot of people, the traditional logic was that all of your survivals type items needed to be on this belt. So that if you dumped your pack and your armor, and this is all you had, what would you put on this belt? That logic hasn't kind of tested, run through the test of time. I do keep the survival kit on my belt, but I'm not carrying water on this belt like I used to. The biggest thing is depending on how you're training, lot of people prefer to have their emergency reload on this thing for either both rifle or pistol. So I definitely carry my handgun ammo, at least some of it on this belt. I would have a rifle magazine at a minimum on this belt. My first aid kit would go on this belt. Obviously my holster, and then potentially any, we call it a signaling kit, but it's essentially a very, very small survival kit that would go on this belt as well. If you're talking about a civilian, civil disaster type situation, then you probably would want to have a pouch that holds a Nalgene bottle, maybe with a cup, a slide-in camp cup under it, a titanium cup under that bottle, so you can boil water and then pour it into your Nalgene bottle when it cools to replenish yourself. If you have iodine or bleach tabs, you probably want to have those on this line so that you can procure water later on. You might want to throw some calories in there. Have you some goo or something that's going to be pouch stable, several hundred calories to refill the tank if you're trying to move to your next thing. So if you're away from your house and it's 13 miles cross country to get to your home, where you've got a generator, solar, and food, and mountain house in the garage, or whatever, then you're going to want to have that caloric intake on board to be able to allow you to move that 13 miles back to your home. Well, everyone, if there are no further questions, I guess we can say goodbye to those of you on the internet. Thanks for stopping by and hearing the shtick. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and we're going to talk about some other gear. Oh, I'm parched.
Water or what?
No, actually.